Varya finished her shift at work, feeling the fatigue slowly creeping up on her. The last few weeks had been especially stressful. Constant deadlines, many tasks, and the need to maintain a high level of customer service. She sank into a chair in the utility room, closed her eyes, and tried to relax. Thoughts about work were still spinning in her head, and despite her fatigue, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Through the silence of the utility room, sounds could be heard coming from the next room. Varya perked up and listened. At first she thought it was just her colleagues discussing something unimportant, but then she caught familiar voices. They were her work friends, Irina and Maxim. They often spent time together, and Varya couldn't help but feel a little envious of their friendship. Suddenly, laughter rang out, and Varya tensed when she heard Maxim say, "You'll never believe what she said to me the other day." Varya froze, unable to take her ears off the door. Her heart started beating faster. She knew it could be something important, and she couldn't ignore her curiosity. "What?" Irina asked, her voice full of interest. "Speak already." She said she didn't know how to work with Varya anymore, like she demands too much and is never satisfied, Maxim said, and there was mockery in his voice. Varya felt a chill run through her. She couldn't believe that her colleagues were talking about her behind her back. Her heart sank with betrayal. She had always believed that there was trust between them, but now that trust was in doubt. "Isn't that strange?" Irina noted. "Varya has always been so goal-oriented. I think she's just trying to do everything perfectly." "Yes, but sometimes it's just annoying," Maxim answered with a light laugh. "She wants everyone to work the same way she does. And people have their own lives, their own problems." Varya felt anger building up inside her. Her efforts, her desire to do her job better and help the team seemed insignificant. She felt resentment creeping up on her, but at the same time she couldn't bring herself to enter the room and tell them what she had heard. "Maybe we should talk to her," Irina suggested. "I don't think she understands how this looks. From the outside." "I don't know," Maxim said. "Maybe it's better to just leave it as is. She'll figure it out herself." Varya, unable to listen any longer, decided it was time to go out and tell them that she had heard everything. She stood up from her chair, but at that moment fear gripped her. What if they didn't understand her? What if this led to a conflict? Gathering her courage, she opened the door and entered the room, interrupting their conversation. Irina and Maxim froze, their faces filled with surprise. "Hello, Varya," Irina said, her voice a little nervous. Varya tried to pull herself together, but anger and disappointment were still seething inside her. "I heard what you were talking about," she said, trying to speak calmly, "and I really don't like that you're talking about me behind my back." Maxim opened his mouth to say something, But Varya interrupted him. Please don't make excuses. I just want you to know that I'm trying my best, and I don't like it when my efforts are perceived as something negative. Irina looked at Maxim, then at Varya. We didn't mean to offend you, she said quietly. We were just talking about how difficult it can be to work as a team. Varya felt her heart clench. She knew they had difficult moments, but that didn't justify what she heard. I understand that we all have our difficulties, she said, her voice softening. But I want us to be able to discuss any problems openly and not behind each other's backs. Maxim nodded, and his face grew serious. You're right, Varya. We didn't mean to offend you. I just sometimes feel like you insist on high standards too much, and it puts pressure on us. Varya sighed, feeling her anger begin to subside. She knew that sometimes her striving for perfection could cause tension, but that didn't mean they couldn't work together. I just want us to be on the same page, she said. I believe that we can achieve more if we support each other. Irina seemed to think about her words. I agree, she said. Let's try to be more open in communication. We are a team, after all, and we need to understand each other. Maxim nodded, and Svetlana saw understanding in his eyes. Let's do it, he said. I'm ready to work on improving our relationships in the team. Varya felt her heart fill with hope. They were able to discuss their feelings, and this was an important step towards improving their relationship. She understood that teamwork requires effort from everyone, and she was pleased to realize that her colleagues were ready to change. After this conversation, Varya noticed that the atmosphere in the team began to change. They became more open with each other and began to discuss not only work issues, but also personal ones. During lunch breaks, they shared their stories, laughed, and supported each other. Varya felt that her efforts were not in vain. A few weeks passed, and Varya noticed that Maxim became more responsive. They began to work together on projects, and this brought them closer. One day when they were late at work, Varya noticed that Maxim began to share his thoughts on how to improve the work process. You know, Varya, I think that if we work more as a team, we can make our work more efficient, he said, his voice full of confidence. That's a great idea, she replied, feeling her heart fill with joy. Let's discuss it with the others. Irina also supported their initiative, and soon they organized a small meeting with the team, where they discussed how to improve work processes. This became an important moment for all of them, and Varya felt that their relationship was getting stronger. However, Varya understood that not everything would be perfect. Sometimes old habits returned, and she noticed how colleagues again discussed work issues behind each other's backs. But now she knew how to react to this. One day, When she overheard Maxim and Irina talking about themselves again, she decided that she would not remain silent. "Guys, can I have a minute?" she said, interrupting their conversation. Irina and Maxim froze, and their faces showed surprise. "Is something wrong, Varya?" Irina asked, her voice sounding a little nervous. "I just wanted to say that it's important to me that we discuss our problems openly. I heard you talking about my demands again, and I don't like it," she said, trying to speak calmly. Maxim looked at her with understanding. "You're right, Varya. We should be more open. We shouldn't talk about each other, but rather talk about our feelings directly." Svetlana felt her heart fill with joy. They were able to discuss their experiences again, and this was an important step toward improving their relationship. "Thank you for listening to me," she said, smiling. "Let's work together and support each other." Irina and Maxim responded with smiles, and Varya felt the tension ease. They began to discuss how they could improve their work and create a more supportive atmosphere in the team. As time went on, Varya noticed that her team had become more united. They began to spend more time together, arrange friendly get-togethers after work, and this helped to strengthen the bonds between them. Varya felt that her efforts had not been in vain, and she was proud that she had been able to change the atmosphere at work. One day, when they were getting together after work, Varya looked at her colleagues and saw how they were laughing and communicating. She realized that their relationships had become stronger, and this was important to her. That evening, sitting in a cafe with the team, Varya felt that her efforts had brought results. They discussed not only work issues, but also personal matters, shared dreams and experiences. Varya noticed how their team had become more friendly and supportive. "You know, it seems to me that we have become a real team," she said, her voice full of joy. "It's great that we can openly share our thoughts." "Yes," Maxim agreed. "I feel it too. It helps us work better. And how great that we can support each other," Irina added, her face glowing with happiness. Svetlana knew that their path would not always be easy, but now they were ready to support each other in any circumstances. And when Varya remembered the day she overheard the conversation, she realized that it was a turning point for all of them. It helped them become stronger as a team, and that was exactly what she wanted.